Hello. Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Pavel and Alex.
Hi.
Hello. So I guess we have about 6 speakers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. I think everybody's here. No, waiting for Vlad.
Alex Astafov, you look quite serious, as if you're trying to solve the blockchain trilemma right now.
He is.
I try to find the best place with the light.
Yeah, you're really dark. You're like running. Yeah.
Manager. Somebody.
Oh, it's night over there. Yeah.
Yes.
Looks like
Paradise Island.
Serial killer pop up behind you. So we're waiting for Maslakov. I'll ping him.
Home.
Well, I guess we can start, right? I mean, most of the people are on the call.
Yeah, waiting for Vlad, Maslakov.
Okay.
And then we got
Turn at
everybody.
the end. So we can start on this.
Yep. Okay. Yep, we could start. Actually, it's going to be a lot of stuff to cover. So, hi, everybody, and welcome to a very special Everscale community call. We have with us today some of the top technical minds leading development for the Everscale network. And just a reminder that 1,000 Evers are up for grabs for the best 10 questions, and it's not too late to participate. Just be sure to write your question with the hashtag Everscale_dev_meeting so we can find your questions. And since we have a lot to cover today, because we also have another AMA with Broxus, EverX, and DeFi Alliance in 1 hour, let's just get started right away, kick it off with our first speaker, and that is Mr. Pavel Prigolovko with the serial killer in the background. He's going to be giving us an introduction to the network development organization. So Pavel?
Yes, hi everyone. It's nice that you joined us tonight or today, depends on what place of the earth you are now. So I think there were many questions in the community regarding what's going on with core development and what happened, what changes we had because we had Mitya on many calls before, and now Mitya is more focused on Gosh, as you probably know what is it. So I would like to start from exploration what is going on inside EverX. Initially, EverX or Maps, as it was before, used to be a core developer of the network, and we actually developed a lot of stuff which hopefully you use as users or as developers or other community members. So finally, we come at a point where we have now a number of very important projects, and each project now has a dedicated development team, and each team has its own team lead. So when Roadmap was formed, and then later on EverX, there was one man, again Mitya, as you know, who was responsible for all design issues, for product design decisions, and it worked somehow in the beginning, and actually it worked well. So we delivered the node, we delivered wallet, we delivered other very important products like SDK, compilers. But it is impossible for a single person to manage efficiently all those streams. So finally, we made the internal decision to make each project as a fully fledged separate team, which focused only on that project with the lead, with the team, with the lead for each project. So what we have now? We have now Evernode, the most probably the most important company because that's the network itself. Then we have SDK / cloud infrastructure, which is called Evernode platform. So then we have compilers, your famous compilers, which again probably some of you use. So those are three core streams which EverX do. Each team, so team leads of each team, they are on this call, so they will present themselves, will present what each team is doing after me. Of course, I should have to mention that we have other, as EverX, we have other products like Surf, which was the first wallet in Everscale network. Also, we have Flex and mentioned before Gosh project. But those projects, they could not be called core projects. They are important actually for Everscale ecosystem, but they are not the core products for the ecosystem. So that's why we are not we do not plan to cover it at that email. So they have separate streams and they could have separate emails. This is it for me for the introduction of the process.
Okay, that's it, Pavel. Thank you very much for the overview. I'm sure we're going to learn a bit more with the other teams in the following AMA and after a few more announcements and down the line. Thank you. And when we have some questions, please stick around because I'm sure that there are some specifically for you. And so we will move on to the second speaker, and that's Slava Bilenko. He is the team lead of Evernode, as just mentioned by Pavel, and he's going to give us some node development highlights. So, Slava, if you could please turn your camera on, that would be great too.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
That's good.
It's a little loud where you are. Would it be possible to kind of go into a quieter corner?
Yeah, basically we are in the team, in the node team. Basically, we have to follow different ways of thinking. So we have to develop, and at the same time we have to listen for community for some kind of ideas and maybe complaints about the network. So can you hear me okay? Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you.
That's good. So we are going to, and actually we do some combining of our internal plans and some ideas from community to get some straight directions to the future and to get a good product in the end of our road. So that is our common understanding how it should do.
Okay. Do you have anything else you'd want to share? Or maybe Pavel wants to jump in here.
Yeah, I think Slava, you can just briefly explain what streams you have internally in the team regarding SMFT, concerns about ramp, drive chain, so like that. So inside the team, there are a number of very important projects which are going on. So later on, there will be a presentation of an architecture committee and the process, which was already set up. So not team as well as other teams, core teams, they work following community's needs. It's not like we do it as an internal process. Now process is fully transparent. We have key members who also provide a lot of input for directions where we should go and what should we do. So Slava, if you a little bit disclose what are you working now, it will be helpful.
Yeah, of course. So basically, last times we discussed with community about some items that is really interested for the to move our blockchain towards to the future. So we found some cases like multiple work chains and some other items like drive chain functionality to store the files using the blockchain mechanisms actually. So we had several meetings with community guys and set up activity with the team to prepare some good plans for to achieve some reasonable results within reasonable time. With some steps that can be monitoring with the help of community. So we'll prepare a plan and we will review it with community guys, and then we can follow the development steps. So exactly the topics that we should follow is multiple work chain items, the drive chain, and the slashing mechanisms inside the work chain. Inside the blockchain. I think that we had a lot of questions to discuss, but maybe these three are the most important of them.
Yeah, let me clarify a little bit. So Slava was talking about the fact that those priorities, like blockchains and slashing, they were set up by a community. We had our own agenda. As you know, we are not team focused on delivering features what were mentioned in white paper, which is already almost a year from now was published. But community, key members of the Everscale community on architectural committee said that, okay, we need this and these features delivered as up. So some features were got less priority, and those features which Slava mentioned, they got highest priority. So as of now, there are two most wanted features: support of multiple blockchains, and which, by the way, includes messaging between blockchains as well. And another feature is slashing for validators, which can perform their duties. Other important, actually, there's nothing all is important in Node roadmap. You cannot say that some part of that roadmap is not important, but SMFT consensus, implementation and going into production, it will be in stages. So ramp, which long time waited ramp, it will be open source as we discussed this week, and it already for a couple of months in tests already, but since testing of complex system can take some time, and quite honest, unpredictable amount of time it could take. So that's why we decided not to develop it in a hidden way, because we'd like community also to provide some opinion on that and probably provide some help with finding bugs. So it will be open source by the end of this week. So the same situation with the first part of SMFT, SMFT upgrade, it also should be available by the end of this week. Yeah, and we have a fully capable team to deliver all features mentioned in the white paper. Of course, there could be some implementation dependent fluctuations, but we are fully on track on what was planned a year ago.
Okay, great. Thank you for elaborating, Pavel. Thank you very much. And from here, we're going to move on to Ekaterina Pantaz, and she is the team lead of Evernode platform, and she'll be discussing the platform and cloud development highlights. Ekaterina?
Hello, everyone. I will share my screen now. Not sure exactly what to say, but I will go along my presentation. Okay, I will tell you about the development cycle of the Evernode platform team, which actually exists for 3 years already, and nothing changed that much. So at first we collect requirements. We have different sources to collect requirements. It's like community, Telegram, and private messages with developers of the community. And also we collect requirements from our partners and projects we work with, such as Serve, Live, Flex, Broxus, and so on. And then we validate this hypothesis that users want. Then say sometimes someone wants to implement some great feature that they're sure they're really great, and we do not take features in development immediately. I go and ask developers if they need it or they don't, and many features were rejected or trashed this way. So then we prioritize features and then we develop them. Development is a process that itself consists of many phases that I will not explain here. Document, release, and collect customer feedback and do the next iteration. So this is all about development cycle. I think I can use this opportunity to tell you about the roadmap of our products. Evercloud now is going to release the dashboard together with reliable endpoints and authorization support. In the dashboard, you will be able to register in the Evercloud and get your credentials to access the API. And also, we know about the problem about balancing among the network endpoints because we didn't provide availability SLA for each of them. Now, and we understand that this is a problem for users who do not use SDK to access API, who wants to work directly with API. It's a problem to implement balancing. And we decided to release these reliable endpoints, and we will balance on the backend on our side. And these endpoints will go, these endpoints users will receive after their registration in the dashboard. And also they will receive authorization credentials. There will be ways to authorize with project ID, with basic authorization, with secret, and later we will add support for GVT tokens. And this authorization will become mandatory by September 22, so in 1 month. And I think, I hope we will release dashboard this week. So this is the nearest future. And also in parallel now we develop token API. The reason why we were not developing it, haven't started developing it earlier, is because there was no standard for tokens, and we wanted the community to standardize it. So now we have a standard, but this standard, tip 3.1, is also not a complete standard. Actually, we implement API on top of tip 3.2, which is not accepted, I think, but Broxus already have its description in the GitHub. So because tip 3.1 it covers only transfers standardization, not ownership and stuff like that. So we will release token API on top of tip 3.2 standard. And then we will add project analytics to the dashboard. It will, project analytics means the API usage of the project. So projects will see what requests they do, how often they meet limits and stuff like that. And later we will start calculating query costs, and based on those costs, we will add access limit policy. And later we will, when we do some analysis based on API usage, we will introduce some subscription tiers, and it will be, of course, freemium model. So the free subscription, if you have low requests, low number of requests, you may use free subscription, and if you have higher number of requests, of course, you will need to buy more costly subscription. And in terms of another features that we plan to implement is NFT API. Also because the standard was now in the process of acceptance. So this is it for Evercloud. Priorities and roadmap, and SDK roadmap is shorter. We plan to introduce, based on the feedback of developers, we want to deprecate AppKit and introduce another Web3-like contract package in some time, I don't know, maybe a couple of months. It will be like Web3, the JS libraries. So it will be more convenient for developers to use. Also, the engine will be removed from SDK. It will be first deprecated now because Surf team wants to develop it separately. And also SDK binary became pretty big, so it's a good idea to remove the engine from it. And later, I don't know when, but we will release SDK 2.0, and probably we will make it modular, because some users say that having 2 megabytes binary with WASM in the web is a problem. I personally think that's not a problem because the main crypto products that use SDK are either work in extensions or in mobile or in desktop or in the backend, and not very often SDK is used in the web, like in the page itself. So I'm not sure, maybe we will not do it modular, but maybe we will, we continue this hypothesis testing. And here's the short roadmap for SE. We plan to increase test execution time. It has already decrease test execution time, of course. We already decreased it 2 times in the last version. Tests run 2 times faster now, but we plan to decrease it more, hopefully to reach the same speed as in Ganache. And also we will introduce new features with snapshot creation and revert. It was also required by contract developers. Well, the next thing I want to say that we are now hiring and we need front-end developers for our dashboard. And we need QA and release engineer and pipeline engineer and technical writer or developers who can write documentation. So, because the amount of work is increasing and we need to grow our team. So if some of you want to join us, then message me and we will appoint some interview. So I think I will stop my sharing now. Yeah, so this is basically it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much for sharing a presentation and also being very transparent in how your team handles the development cycle. It's very interesting. Also, the roadmaps, maybe we should have a dedicated presentation in AMA once the dashboard is ready. That'd be really good. Cool. Thank you, Ekaterina. Stick around for any questions that might come your way. Next up, we have Boris Ivanovsky. He's the team lead for Toolchain, and he's going to give us some highlights on the Smart Contract Developer Toolkit. Boris.
Yeah, hi there. I've been doing this for 3 years by now, and blockchains have been renamed repeatedly, and it has been rebranded back and forth, but the strategy has not changed. They are committed to develop tools to make blockchain a development platform. Basically, that's something which nobody had done before, and with this blockchain, I believe it's possible. We have released over 60 releases of compiler. We have not had any critical bugs for the duration of the development timeline, and we are moving pretty fast. I believe everybody on this call already knows that, so if you have any questions.
Okay.
We have pretty good news from the development standpoint. Stay tuned.
Okay, sounds good. Short and sweet. So please stick around, Boris, if there's any questions that you might be able to answer. Thank you.
Sure.
Next up on the agenda, we have Vladimir, but I don't think he was able to make it, so we'll push him to the end in case he comes up. So moving on, let's go to the team lead at Broxus, and that is Sergey Potekhin. And he's going to talk to us about what Broxus does for development of the Everscale network.
Yeah, hi guys, do you hear me well?
Yes.
Yeah, so
let me start. Unfortunately, I don't have such a beautiful presentation as Ekaterina, so I'll just tell you about few ongoing developments in the Broxus. Let's begin. First of all, as many of you know, last week we have released the new major version of the Locklift framework. For those who are not familiar with it, this is basically the hardhat for Everscale, which allows you to develop and test and deploy your smart contracts on the Everscale network. It was upgraded. You can see the release notes probably on the GitHub. There are tons of new features such as, let's say, tracing, visual debugging, and many more, new configuration, TypeScript support, and way more. Also, as you know, we have placed the hackathon last week in the Belgrade. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to visit it, but as I know, it was amazing. And we have received tons of feedback about this new version. The developers were happy. We fixed some minor bugs. All of you are welcome to join us to use the Locklift. It is completely open source. Probably there will be a separate release blog post in the Broxus Medium. So okay, let's move on. Also, we have pretty much finished the new block explorer. You can find it on the beta Everscan. So basically, it has the functionality which the current Everscan has, and much more. For example, I'm happy to say that we are finally finished the contracts verification. So first of all, right now you're able to verify all your Solidity Everscale smart contracts. As I know, this one is DAO root of the Everscan. So as you see, the code is verified, the ABI, and so on. Also, you can use this amazing feature such an executor. Probably you're familiar with it if you have ever used the Etherscan. You can read the details directly from the smart contract, or you can send some messages to the smart contract. Extremely handy feature. Yes, probably it will be released in a next few weeks, maybe earlier. We still have to finish the light theme and few minor bugs, let's say. Yes, this will be a replacement for the current Everscan block explorer. Also, we have released an amazing developer feature which is called Debugger. As I know, there was no similar projects in the Everscale. Right now, it can be found on the Everbit.io. Probably it will be migrated to Block Explorer or some other product. I don't know. We still have to find out. By using this, you can literally debug every single smart contract transaction in the Everscale. You can see, let's say, all the opcodes that were executed in the action phase. You can see the stack on the right. So, you know, right now it is a lot easier to debug your reverted transactions if something went wrong. Maybe it also will be implemented in a form of, I don't know, idea extension or something. So yeah, also feel free to test and give us your feedback. We really appreciate it. Another important thing that's, as you know, on the last week, there were a performance test of the Everscale
network, and many users asked us about how can they see the stats, the current load, the shard stats, and so on. So let me remind that we are contributing to our public Monitoring.ever.rs dashboard, so you can see the like sharding stats, the TPS stats, block time, elections, and so on. Also, right now we are working on the Everscale network project, which is basically the implementation of the ADNL layer, and this is kind of infrastructure project. You can use it on, I don't know, every single project you're working on. So you can implement yourself some kind of light node or the full node for Everscale. Broxus is already using it in the Ton indexer project, for example. So as I know, it is already working and it's been tested, but there are still some major issues which have to be fixed. Probably, definitely, I forgot about something, and I don't have that much time. So if you have any questions, ask me, or feel free to join our next Broxus MEA session. So thank you.
Great, thank you very much, Sergey. It was very interesting, and for sure, Elysium was definitely an excellent initiative by Broxus. So thank you for sharing all of that and the dashboard as well. Please stick around for any questions that might come your way. And we were going to have Vladimir Mazlikov, member of the architecture committee, who was going to talk about the architecture committee. But I believe he's on an important call, and Pavel's going to step in for him and just give an overview. So Pavel?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Do you hear me well?
Yes.
Hello? Okay, great.
Yeah.
So as I already mentioned, since we already migrated to Rust node, which was the first major KPI and promise from EverX labs, we now priorities dependent on business, and actually it should be always because Everscale ecosystem, despite the fact that there are a number of teams and they do their own projects, but at the end we are in a competitive environment, so we should look around, we should see what's going on in other blockchains, and we should do as a community business in a way that we should try to get the best projects and to get the most developers attention and most development team attention. So that's why there was a strong push from community, from K members, to create such mechanism where we actually assess what priorities should be done in first place and what can wait. At the end, that architecture committee formed, and it consists. Actually, it is a semi-open group of people because it's nothing to hide from us. Actually, all development should be open source and clear for all members of the community. But of course, if we will invite everybody from the street, then it will be not possible to discuss quite complex technical stuff. So that's why those meetings, they are a little bit limited, and participation there limited only to K members of the network. As Slava mentioned before, now priorities which were set up by that committee were focused on work chains, delivery of work chains with messaging between them, and flashing of validators. We assume that that committee will be also the place to discuss not only node development, but also development of some OVK projects of network to discuss some integration issues which we could have as well. Well, what else I could add? If you have any questions, please shoot.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Thank you very much,
me,
Pavel.
sorry, let me interrupt you. I just forgot to say that Broxus is also working on an extremely long-awaited task, the Ethereum virtual machine compatible workchain integration. As you understand, this is not an easy task because there are so much breaking changes in the node itself, in the protocol, of course. This task is still in kind of research mode. We're working on it, and I hope there will be more news like in the future. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Sergey.
Oh.
So let's move on to the Q&A section. As a reminder, the 10 best questions will be awarded 1,000 Evers, split between you guys, and they'll be selected after the meeting. So if you're a winner, you'll be contacted privately. So for the speakers, if you feel that there's a question you can cover, please don't hesitate to just jump right in. So we've been collecting some questions. And the first one is from Alexei, and he asks a question about storing data in the blockchain. I've read about a storage fee to maintain only the data that is needed. In this case, what happens with transaction history? Please explain how storing data works. Perhaps the drive chain team?
Is Alexei here?
Sorry?
Is Alexei on the call? The author of the question?
It was Alexei Kobzitsky.
Yeah. Community
Member. So
is he on the call? Is he ready to listen to the answer? Or?
Oh, I'm sure he's watching on YouTube.
Oh, okay then. The thing is, blockchain doesn't actually store all the transactions. It stores hash codes of the transactions to verify that they have really taken place. All the history, all the messages, all the previous account states are stored at the validators and DApp servers maintainers' discretion. Actually, they could be gone in a very short time. It's a matter of goodwill to maintain such bases. The thing which makes it precious that you have hash that proves that the chain has not been broken. But having the account states and the history of the transactions is a huge bonus to the development and to the actually using the blockchain. And that's basically how it works.
Boris, I think the question was not about transactions itself, but the question was about account.
Yeah,
the fact is
only so it's state.
The fact is that, it's a state. I mean, the fact is that all addresses in Everscale network, they are smart contracts and they have account data. And as it is designed from the very beginning, once you have not enough balance of ever on that account, and account was triggered by some transaction, then it could be frozen. It could become frozen. Then it is changed for a hash of its state. And that's substituted by by hash of its state, and that mechanism allows for a user to restore this that account. So from my perspective, it is a great mechanism, because if you, of course, if you don't care about your accounts, then why we should care as a blockchain, why we should store it forever for free. And once that account becomes frozen, you have time to reverse things and come and upload back your account in a state what it was before it was frozen. That's why hash is frozen to that address. That's why hash is stored as a data for that address. So for my personal view, it is a great mechanism.
Right. Well, in theory, right, it is, but in practice, you remember the amount of pain we have experienced while restoring one of the first accounts. Right, it can be restored, and now the tools have options and commands, sub-commands to help you with restoring the accounts, but the advice is not to get it to the state and to have a minimal balance on the account to keep it active, because it's not really a delightful experience to get your account unfrozen. It can be done, but it's not really a walk in the park.
It shouldn't be often, because if you don't care about your account, then why blockchain should care? Why
yeah, of course.
Okay, makes sense. Alexei, I hope that answered your question. Moving on to a question from Vitaly. How to get into your ecosystem? Where is massive marketing for everything like GameFi, excluding poker? I'm not quite sure if there's room to really address this question, as it's more of a developer focused.
Yeah, I think that Duan, this can be taken into the EMA session. This is, I think, more of a marketing question.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, so Vitaly, your question will be answered in about 20 minutes. Okay, next one. For more widespread use, it would be good to establish bridges between Ever and Fiat. Are there any plans in this direction, some kind of plastic cards? I think we do have such solutions. Who would like to jump in here?
For sure, we have. But when we say about bridges between fiat and crypto, it is not on blockchain level. It's done not on blockchain level. It's done on application level, and even Surf has it. So other applications also have it. And there's a section, I think, on the website how to buy Evers, how to buy other tokens. So this is quite standard.
Yep, and I believe there are more solutions right on the in the roadmap too. Okay, moving on. So currently social Web3 is being talked about a lot, and several new social Web3 projects are emerging, and most of them are in the EVM network. Will it be possible for Everscale to create a social Web3 project built on the Everscale ecosystem?
I think there is such a project. I think it should be introduced shortly. As far as I know, there are two projects. One is focused on open email, so when everybody can connect to through SDK to Everscale and to use it as email transferring backend, and another project is for open messaging. And from my perspective, Everscale has a perfect architecture for exactly that, for such solutions, because of its scalability.
Okay, thank you, Pavel. Todd asks, is anyone looking at developing DAOs to form a business other than govern Everscale? Tour company in Serbia, restaurant somewhere, wedding photography, and so on. It would be fun to use Evers to invest in something brick and mortar and get dividends in Ever. Very interesting question.
I think this is also, Joanna, I don't think it's a question to the team on the call, really. Maybe we could save that one also.
Okay.
For the more, yeah. Unless somebody wants to check it. I mean,
yes, I raised my hand. I can briefly comment about this, that as you know, we present some new project for Everscale on Hackathon. And in this project, we are planning to integrate DAO for holding tournaments. It will be special tournaments, DAO for different roles, tournament associations, game manufacturers, because it's game project, gamers, and so on. And we will integrate DAO actually, as this member asked about. That's why, yes, for example, our project planning to do it. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So Todd, I know that your answer was kind of, your question was kind of answered, but stick around for the AMA. I'm sure we're going to dive deeper into it and give some more information there. And so we have another question. Dear Everscale devs, I'm curious on how Everscale's GameFi works. Does it have any connections with the new concept MetaFi and P2E? Do you have any features implemented to recognize metadata in the Everscale blockchain network? And what is the working mechanism of Metaverse SDK and features of it? Heavy question.
Yeah, this is one of ideas what a DeFi Alliance actually has, that in order to grab business in some important areas, we can create a simple way, simple onboarding way by creating SDK for a specific topic. So SDK for metaverses is also under development, and I'm not sure about status of it. I don't have that information. I think somebody from the DeFi Alliance can comment on that, but I know that definitely it is under development, and it is a good idea to help onboard projects.
Yes, thank you, Pavel. Okay, if nobody else wants to jump in there, we will move on. There is, okay. Next question. There are currently about 200 validators in the network. The Magister Ludi program will end soon. How global governance plans to support and expand the decentralization of the network?
this is actually one of the topics for the upcoming AMA session.
Thought so.
We will cover it in there fully.
Yeah. Okay. Alex, number 2, the Esktahov, I cannot pronounce your name correctly. Let's make some notes to carry these questions over. Okay, next, moving on. According to the white paper, emission of Ever should be stopped. Will this point be completed? How and when?
Yes, this is almost not funny, but this is proposal number 5 that we'll be presenting at the AMA session in 6 minutes. So I can make sure advertise at the AMA session. As you can sense, it will be quite important. But yes. The short answer is yes. One of the proposals that will be put up on voting at EverDAO is to stop emission and instead come up with a fund to compensate validation.
Cool. Okay. Thank you, Alex. Bitcoin bridge scheduled for Q4 2022. Is everything going according to plan? Will it be integrated into Octa's bridge, or will it be a separate solution like A2Ever? Broxus team.
Yeah.
Let me answer. Right now, I can say, do we have plans about adding Bitcoin direct support, I mean like native support to the Octus bridge, since there are ongoing integration of the Solana into the Octus bridge, and there is a chance, it is still the research phase, that maybe we will integrate the near blockchain. So I'm not sure that it will be integrated into the Octus bridge. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe someone else have something to say. Since if there will be the business request about the integrating Bitcoin, because as you understand, this is extremely complex task. It is possible after all, but it's like a huge task. So
yeah, what I can add to this, just a couple of sentences. I know there was a US-based team out of New York called Architect that was interested to explore the Bitcoin bridge with Everscale, but I don't think it's in development yet. I think they're still kind of talking to the technical team on the architecture and specs. That's what I know. But we might want to double check. I'm sure somebody in the Broxus team is also in the loop on that discussion.
Okay, we have time for one more question, and that's from Anthono. In Evercloud API usage, when some projects loaded, others may be affected in some way, and API may get degraded. Will there be an update for free to use API in the future to get fast response time without using dedicated cloud deployment?
Yes. Actually, now in the Cloud API, we use the same database for real-time data and for analytics requests, and this is not right. So we plan in the nearby future to move collections queries to a separate analytics database and to expand the existing API that will allow to interact with blockchain. So users will have to migrate to the new API if they want to interact with the blockchain. It's called blockchain root query. And if they want to perform some analytics, they will use collections. And also when we will have authorization and query cost calculation, analytics queries will cost more. So users will be able to make those requests not that frequently. So this all will lead to the better API response time. Eventually.
Perfect. Thank you, Ekaterina. So that concludes our Everscale bi-weekly meet with all of our special top speakers. Thank you very much for coming, and stick around for the Network Reform AMA with Broxus, EverX, and the DeFi Alliance starting in 2 minutes. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.